Hello world, welcome to the video today. We're doing something really calm and chill. If you guys haven't seen my film, Failure Over Regret, you should probably watch that before you watch this. I'll put the link below, and maybe I can put a little card up here. Little introduction for the movie, if you haven't seen it. Character is about to get evicted from his house. He takes a really risky investment and loses everything he has, including the house. Goes on this like crazy tangent and freaks out and splits up into two characters, where one gets over the mistake, learns from it, and moves on, and the other character contemplates, gives up, and goes down a really dark path. And I'm not going to ruin the movie, but it's a pretty interesting story. The execution though was a bit of a problem, and that's what I'm here today to explain. This video is pretty much going to be me roasting myself for the next 10 minutes. One is aperture. For those who don't know, aperture is a number you can control on your camera to choose the focused range on your camera. So you have a camera range, and between it you have a focus range. And that focus range gets smaller or larger depending on your aperture, which depends on how much light you're letting into the camera. If the aperture is really small and the iris is really close, not a lot of light is going to go through. But if it's really big and open, a lot of light is going to go through. Low aperture is usually a good thing for cinematic footage, but the problem is, if you do it while doing some kind of scenes where you have a lot of movement, it's pretty hard to keep the actor in focus. They keep moving back and forth, front and back, and you just lose that perfect focus, and then they become a bit blurry and it just ruins the shot. And this happened to us a lot of times throughout the film, but it was kind of hard to realize as we were going because we were in such a rush to shoot the shots. And I'll explain why we were in a rush in a couple minutes. And that aperture issue with the movement leads right into the next problem, which is I used way too much handheld footage. I should have threw the camera on the stabilizer, I shouldn't have been lazy, I should have taken more time to get the right shot instead of filming 20 times the handheld to just get an okay shot. At the start of the film, I ended up using the stabilizer for the kitchen scene, and you can see how well done it is. I start tracking the character's arms as he walks into the kitchen. He picks up the water heater, puts it in the sink, fills up the water, transfers it back to the other side, and the whole time I'm perfectly tracked on him with no shake. But in certain situations, that handheld shake is really good. Like the scene where we're at the gas station and the homeless guy just has a really sad scene, a really sad music, and just little nice B-roll. That scene had a really nice sway to it where it goes side to side. So while the execution of the video was pretty decent, the biggest problem for me was the audio. Going into the film, I knew that it would be really hard as one person to set up a mic and to set up all the characters and to set up the camera, and there's just too many factors in one shot. So I decided that I will ADR or Foley the whole audio back at home in the office on the computer. And that was a terrible idea. I knew that I can get a lot of those generic like keys opening a door slamming sounds online, but I didn't know how hard it would be to do and how long it would take to do it at home after filming the whole thing. If I would have taken those 2-3 minutes to set up the mic every single shot, I would have saved myself hours and hours on end instead of sitting here on my ass checking if audio matches on the perfect line. One issue that was mostly my fault because I wasn't being a good director was the inconsistent acting. I should have pushed my actor more to be consistent with the rest of the film. Since certain shots were shot days apart from each other, there's one shot where the character is all happy and excited, and the next one was we shot it at 3 in the morning when he's tired and just wants to go home and sleep. And the acting turned out to be very inconsistent. Using editing, I was able to make it look as good as I can, but that would have been something I should have pushed on more while directing. And that again leads into the next issue, which was me choosing way too complex locations to shoot instead of focusing more on the story. I really wanted that cinematic, like nighttime scenes or on the bus scenes and all that, and it was cool, but it took focus away from the story. And when we got back to the computer and started editing everything together, we realized the story wasn't very clear. What I recommend to anyone who's interested in making their first short film, choose an indoor location. You can control the lighting, you can control the audio, you can control the actor's movement, you can control the framing of the camera. You can control the environment in general, and it's just so much easier to work with and focus on the real important part, which is the story. Because no matter how good your equipment is, no matter how good your framing is, none of that matters when your story is absolute crap. Some shots I wanted to shoot at sundown or sunrise, and that was a big mistake as well, because there's like a 30-minute window of when you can shoot it, and 2 days in a row we screwed up those shots. So it took us 3 days, each day at 5 in the morning or 7 o'clock at night, to get the perfect shot, and we didn't even end up using it. Film inside as much as you can, unless you want to do something cinematic outside, but make sure you can control your environment. All these mistakes took my focus away from the real important part of the whole film, which is the story. I keep saying this and I want to keep saying it, story is the most important piece of your film. I do think we had a really good story. I do think it was way too complicated for a first film. We should have taken more time, planned more actors, and made it a bigger shoot later down the line. But I have absolutely no regrets, by the way, on any of these mistakes. I'm really happy I made them. I'm really happy I spent that time editing them, because now I know what to do. I recommend making a lot of films. Don't make one big one, make a lot of little ones, and keep making mistakes and learning from them. I really hope that this video was insightful to you guys who are interested in making films, or even if you make YouTube videos, even if you make goddamn vines, I don't care. These are all applicable. You need to watch your shit, you need to find your mistakes, and you need to go over them and fix them. If you don't do that, you're just gonna keep making the same mistakes, and your content is just gonna stay the same. Thank you so much everyone for watching if you made it to this point. I really appreciate you guys watching the whole thing. I put a lot of work into these videos, even though I should just be pushing out one every day. If you want to see the things I did right on my film, I would love to make that video. I have so much behind the scenes footage that I don't even know what to do with it. Also, if you like the lighting on the set today, like the video for me.